I guess while we're just waiting for the next question, just to address a couple of the points I saw in the general chat about the robin being uncommon or rare. That is what we call in the industry a typo, and has since been rectified on the Medium channel. Yeah, happens to even the best.
I think most of us were kind of assuming that that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, generally the way that we, just for a bit of, insight onto how we classify our rarities, is generally we will make a common, in the case of something like this series, Batman Black and White Series 5, with 4 different characters, we will make the common edition generally the most popular, because that's what everyone wants. And then that typically then goes down to what would be the least popular. Not to say that Mike Magnolia and his slanting shoulders aren't popular, but everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people know the Batman Who Laughs. And to be honest, the model is very, very beautiful. The character looks amazing. And then Robin also looks really cool. We've released one other Robin. So that the number 71 Batman coming out in the Series 5 drop is Carmine Infantino, a very famous DC artist. And I believe we have previously released the Carmine Infantino Robin. So this one, number 71, is basically the pairing with that previous Robin. If any of you have that, then you can go for the pair.
Oh yeah, those will be really nice together.
I had a quick question, if you guys have time.
Go for it.
I heard something about like an ultra rare gold foil bread cat. Is that a thing still?
Yeah, that's coming next drop. There's only going to be 3 editions.
Perfect. Excited for that.
Cheers, just for you, bro.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Anyone else want to jump in there? Reese, how's your audio going? Really not that well. All right, I'm open to any other questions, guys and girls. Don't mean to discriminate.
I know that we've got loads of questions in here.
Sure. Yep. Let's just fire away. I am on a little bit of a time limit, so let's get through them.
If you wanted to share with us a little bit about what you personally are most excited about in the next coming weeks.
Next coming weeks. Next coming weeks is probably all month. I mean, I'll go out a little bit more long term. I mean, in the next coming weeks, we've got some really cool new categories from the DC range of collectibles. Very, very beautiful collectibles. So I'm pretty excited about dropping them. They should be out in the next couple of weeks. In addition to that, I believe we have something else coming from Back to the Future. And then to a little bit later on, maybe 4 to 6 weeks out, we've got some more artist work coming on board. Fairly well-known artist. So I look forward to announcing that person when the time comes. And, this is off the back of Dragon Girl, which, to be honest with you guys, David and I really weren't too sure how well that character or that collectible would be accepted by the community, because it's not a well-known brand like we've done up till now. But I personally think that Simone did an absolutely beautiful job on that model, and I think it was one of our record sellouts to date. Granted, it was only 15,000 editions, but really pleased that the community enjoyed that kind of level of artistic product.
Yes, I have a quick question. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm heavily invested in this project, so thank you for that. I have noticed that around 250,000 users is kind of the thing now. I've seen screenshots in the Discord of users that have 10 plus emulators with Android running. I know that the user HelloK, the YouTuber, has sent that he has over 4 ultra rare DeLoreans for trade fodder. I feel like that's just kind of a disgrace. So what do you got? Do you have any real understanding of the duplicate accounts for our user base?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. So at the end of the day, it is quite difficult for not only just us, but anyone to have to identify, a same user who might be running off multiple different devices. In terms of being able to track that user down, we can, identify same devices that come from the same IP address, but we're quite restricted in what we can do in the sense that, we have families that like to participate in the drops, and, that family might be 3 to 5 people, all on the same IP address. There are some other specific techniques that we have rolled out, which I won't elaborate on here because I don't want anyone to have sort of any inside information as to how we are detecting those items. It's something that we are looking into to see what we can do. I mean, unfortunately, one of the sad things that I have discovered, and going into this, building the product, I really assumed, probably naively, that everyone would behave themselves. Can you guys still hear me? Really thought that users will really behave themselves, but obviously there is a small percentage of users out there who do act fairly nefarious. So, we do have security personnel on the team who are always looking into that and seeing what we can do.
One of those users happens to be the YouTuber HelloK, and I wonder what you think about that, one of your main YouTube kind of guys.
To be honest, I spend most of my time working, so I don't actually jump on YouTube that often. I can pass the information on to our team, get them to have a look into it.
Thank you.
I think I may have figured my sound out, team.
Hello.
Well done, Reese. Welcome.
Thank you. It was push to talk. Who knew you had to assign a button to be able to push?
Hi, everyone.
I'll just chime in on the Hello K thing while we're here. I think Kay makes some incredible content about us, especially to have someone with his experience in software development and that background. It's really nice to have the input of someone who does understand what it takes to code and develop and test and build and redo it all again. So fundamentally, I really enjoy Kay's content. If you guys haven't seen it, I strongly recommend checking it out. He's got a very calm demeanor and really positive way of explaining things. So.
Can you guys hear me? I had a question.
Go for it.
Dan, Reese, amazing job you guys are doing.
I think you cut out there.
We lost you.
Sorry, just like you guys, I'm new to this as well. My question is about the app. With the amount of users that we have, that you guys have basically 250,000, instead of looking at exchanges or anything, wouldn't it be better to have the app working at 100% efficiency? Like in all aspects, Omi to Jam or the marketplace, being able to handle all the users logging on at once instead of like looking for exchanges and all that. Like it'll be better for the company in the long run.
Yeah, well, I think your general assumption there is that, we are not working on improving the app, and instead we're spending our time doing something else, which is, the wrong assumption to be making. While we are looking at exchanges and other things like that, the majority of our time, in fact, 99% of our time, goes into engineering of the app. I think just one thing to consider is that, number one, Veve is a complex beast. It is basically 4 apps in one. On top of that, we've got Unity integration. Then there's all of the blockchain integration in the background. I really don't think many people understand like the depth and the spread of the technical capacity of what goes on in the app. And second to that, as I think I might have mentioned on a few other videos, right now, in terms of our roadmap, we anticipated we would have 20, maybe 30,000 people. Our initial expectation would be pretty happy if we had 60,000 active users by the end of the year. As you guys know, we're actually closer to 300,000 users now. And when you build an app, to cater for 80 to 100,000 users, and that record gets smashed very, very quickly, then a lot of re-engineering has to happen in the back end. And that's not stuff that we can just whip out some new code here and there. It's actually quite a complex pipeline. And also to remember that when you buy something on Veve, you're not just basically clicking buy, adding it to a cart, and then boom, the order's done. There is a very complex reservation system in there. Just third point, we are, still 4 months into this massive growth. And at the end of the day, my personal view is that we actually are still in beta. But the powers at Apple grumbled to us that we don't like you having that word beta on there. So basically we removed it. But, I think over the past 3 or 4 drops, the app is performing significantly better. This week and possibly the following week, we will be turning the market off, at least for the first hour after during the drop, just to make sure that people do have a fair chance to get in there and make sure that they aren't missing out. But yeah, please, I guess my main response to you is, honestly, we're not sitting on our bums or out there trying to do other things. We are heavily investing in the app engineering. Our user base grows significantly month on month, and we are growing and expanding the team to cater with the demand.
Oh, sorry. No, don't get me wrong. I didn't mean to insinuate that you guys aren't doing anything. I know as a businessman what you guys are going through. It's very hard with licensing, dealing with people, hiring new people. I know. I agree. I was just wondering, it would maybe be better to prolong for long-term investors. We don't care about an exchange. We have faith in you and the company. We would rather have the app at 100%, and then everything will fall into place. That's all I meant to say. With no disrespect to any of you guys.
Yeah, none taken. I'm just giving you a bit of insight into what's sort of happening in the background. I mean, we have teams of people within the company that are now focusing on our exchange strategy. So by no means has that taken away at all from our capacity to look at the app and keep the engineering going, getting it running. So yeah, I mean, I do appreciate everyone's patience. Obviously every week, I want to wake up on a Friday morning, New Zealand time, and see a message from the CTO saying, drop went successful. Yeah, I think you can see over the next coming weeks that will continue to improve. I mean, basically, if we didn't have the market on at all during the drops, then they will run absolutely perfectly. The market is a beast, and it takes a lot of resources on the back end just due to the tens of thousands of listings in there. And I do understand that when we turn the market off, it's a bit of a chicken and egg, because if we turn the market off or prevent access to the market, and then people's auctions expire during that time, that creates a whole bunch of support headaches on one side. However, what we've been discussing with the dev team recently is that we're going to probably turn the market off for an hour after the drop, potentially longer. We'll just see how it goes depending on the edition size. And then for any auctions that do expire during that time where the market is taken offline, we will automatically extend those auctions for 3 hours just to make sure that the seller is not, the seller doesn't miss out on the highest value.
Thank you very much. All right. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up.
I had a quick question, if I could. This could be for either Dan or Rise. I don't know which one of you has more knowledge of this. It's regarding the master collectors. I had a question about being an OMI holder and, future staking. I've heard rumor or, that there's going to be some kind of a master collector version for OMI holders. Does it differ for people that have collected sets now? Or will there be two? Will there be two sets of rewards that are similar, or will they differ from each other? If that makes sense.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So the Master Collector program, obviously the massive uptake we've had of users over the past few months has required us internally to really focus on a lot of re-engineering to cater for the demand, and because of that, some of the features that we had planned, like the Master Collector, have been pushed back a few months. But to give you guys some quick insight into the Master Collector program, essentially the whole idea is that we want to reward users who really participate within Veve, and that the reward system will be in two different kind of tiers, I guess, if you will. Number one will be based around your Master Collector level. So, and that will be based on, number one, the collectibles you've purchased. Collectibles you've purchased, and then also in-app activity. And the reason that we want to split the Master Collector leveling up into two different phases here is because at the one end, you've got someone who's a total baller, can come in and throw down 30 grand on a golden moogly, and then at the other end, you've got users who would love to be able to throw down 30 grand on a moogly or whatever, but they just don't have the financial capability to do that. So for us, we just want to make sure that it is really fair for everyone, and so for that reason, your Master Collector level will really be based on, number one, the number of collectibles you own, but also number two is that you can increase your Master Collector level through in-app activity, and to give some examples of that, it'll be like posting, successfully selling in the market, successfully making payments within the 24 hours and not getting banned for 3 days, sharing content, anything to do with actual in-app activity will go towards your, will basically give you points towards your Master Collector. And the reason we're doing that is because, to allow users who may not be so financially sound as some of our others, they still have an advantage to climb the Master Collector ranks. Otherwise, if we don't do that, then it just comes down to whoever has the most money wins. And, we want to be a lot more fair to our users. Now, the second part of the Master Collector program will basically be a whole series of badges and awards. So number one, Season 1 badge, a set badge. And that set, if you have 5 sets, you'll have a level 5 set badge. And the whole idea is that, you guys can get kudos and these kind of rewards within the app as you achieve these different badges and the different levels. And when you go up levels, you'll be gifted certain rewards. There'll also be other features like, maybe when we would drop a set, and I'm just speculating ideas here at the moment, when you advance up a certain level, we may give users who are, say, level 5 and above, have the first 5 minutes to get an ultra rare. And I think, as I've mentioned previously, as you go up the levels, you may have the option to get into drops, a few seconds earlier. It can't be too much earlier because otherwise, it starts to become a little bit unfair. In terms of the staking side, that is absolutely something we're looking at, and we want to have, and I think I've mentioned in my videos with Reese earlier in the year, we will and are absolutely planning to build in more utility around the token, such as staking, which will do things like go towards your master collector level if you stake for a certain amount of time, or if you again stake for a certain amount of time, you might have access to certain collectibles. So I guess to answer your question quickly, yes, we will definitely be bringing in some form of staking. What that is, the token team is still working on.
Awesome. You answered everything perfectly. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Hey, Dan, this is Chad from NFT Pirates. I don't know if you have time for a quick question.
Go for it.
Great, thanks so much. So obviously, huge fan here. We have a very small channel, but very engaged users. And, we're just kind of wondering how you're so insightful and able to kind of see some of the metrics on some of the new drops that are happening. So as an example, you said that a lot of people are really interested in Who Laughs, and then that's why you made it the common, so more people were able to get it. But I'm just wondering what metrics or what insight you have to make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things. Number one, as I've mentioned, David, the CEO, is an absolute crazy, like level 9,000 collector. So he, and some of you guys may not know, David actually, for the past 25 years, has had run a successful chain store, retail store of collectibles. So at the first level, he has a lot of insight into what's popular due to what, because everything that we sell, he's basically sold through his store if it's been a physical product before. And number two, we also work very closely with our licensors. So in the case of Batman Black and White, we asked the team over at DC to give us some kind of indication in terms of the sellout rate of the collectibles when they've sold them in the physical world. And they've basically kind of ranked them from a level of 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. And we use that as a guide when it comes to producing the rarities. And in addition to that, just in general pop culture knowledge, there are some collectibles out there or Batman characters out there that just are inherently more popular, like Batman Who Laughs. Like that was an extremely popular comic series and still has a massive following today. So it's a bunch of bits of data that we use. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that was terrific. Thanks so much. Looking forward to the drop.
Thanks, Jed.
I have a question going like this program. I buy all the collectibles, but I also give them out to like my friends and family who weren't able to get some, because I'm able to get multiple sometimes, but like the uncommons and the commons. So with what I'm trying to say, so can is it just gonna be like a big part of it still gonna be how many collectibles we have? Because I've had about 50 and I gave out like 20 to my friends and family who weren't able to get them. Like would the activity still be like more of like a priority like on the Master Collectors program, or is it strictly like collectibles, the collectible count?
Well, it's not actually collectible count per se, as in how many you currently hold in your account. It will be more around how many you have acquired at some time. So, for example, let's say you had 100 today, you gave 20 away tomorrow, and you're down to 80. That score of 100 will still go towards your account. Now, in saying that, there are limits and restrictions in place, because otherwise the 5% of people out there who just love to operate in the douchebag zone will just go through and buy and try to scam the master collector system. So essentially, it's what you've managed to acquire within certain limits, and we will have protections in place to make sure that people can't kind of scam the system. So no need to worry. Please feel free to continue to give out your collectibles to friends and family. I'm sure they're very appreciative. That won't affect what's happening on the master collector level.
Hey guys,
I appreciate it.
I just had a quick question to follow up on that. So it's more about how many collectibles you have and not like how many sets you complete?
No, if everything you do within the app, even coming down to the activity, the sets that you own will also give you, some kind of extra bonus. Obviously, if you've managed to score a set, and let's be honest, guys, if you don't score a set at the first drop, for the most part, you'll have to pay a pretty penny to complete that set. So there absolutely will be, some point advantage to owning and completing sets.
So
Dan.
I was just going to say, to kind of go along with that. So you're saying it's kind of like a gamification aspect of the app, where you would see in other apps that are games, like every day that you log in, you get a little reward, and up to 7th day, kind of thing. And every like you get, or everything, you pretty much do, you get a little point for.
That's absolutely correct. It essentially is a gamification layer, and I use the word gamification, lightly. I'm not saying it's going to be Call of Duty,
right.
But it is a form of user retention as well. So you're absolutely right. We will have things like daily streaks. I think I don't know if anyone else is there is a 9gag fan, but I think I'm up to like 106-day streak at the moment. Not that I'm getting any rewards from that, but those kind of things, really count towards your in-app activity, and that's we want to reward users for that, because that's
Yeah, I might just chime in there quickly. Sorry, guys. Can I, first and foremost, I just want to welcome everybody that is joining us at the moment, and big thanks to Dan for making some time to jump in here. Instead of everybody becoming speakers, can we please just join the audience and then raise your hand when you have a question? Otherwise, we're just going to end up speaking over the top of each other. So if everybody can kind of do that as they come into these clubhouses, it will make our lives much easier. And just to add to the Master Collector, I think the best way that most people explain it or understand it is that it's like earning XP points the same way you would in a game. So you're earning experience points, and then you would level up your collector ranking based on those points. And you earn those points for in-app activity and things, not just finishing your collections and things like that. So that's how I've always understood it and explained it, and that might help you guys to understand it a little bit more as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, Reese. And yeah, it might be best if everyone actually does raise their hand. I see we've got a few people coming in here, so I'm not too sure. I guess I'm going to, how do I, there's request to speak, how do I?
Yeah, I had that. I think I got the hand up in an invite. I have a quick question. So I came into Veve through the app, and I was impressed. Congratulations with the growth. It's absolutely amazing. And I recently saw an interview with you, and it became apparent to me that the Veve app, and if you go to the Veve website, it doesn't begin to capture the vision you have for where this app is going. Yeah, I mean, you were speaking about all the things like, cars being able to go over 3D mapping and crashing into walls, possibly renting out. You had all of these amazing ideas, and the team seems so energetic. And it just doesn't seem, as an investor, because I do invest in the Omi token, it doesn't feel like the site does it justice. Like where this app is going, where these visions you have are going. Is there any thoughts on a different way to sort of get these out so other people coming to this platform or to this token can see where this is actually going?
So just let me address that. And I agree, the current website sucks. We do have a new website in development now that is looks a lot more beautiful and conveys a lot more. But at the end of the day, when I'm on these kind of speaking events, that's when I talk about what my vision of the future for Veve is. I'm not going to put those down in stone or put it on a website right now to say that your DeLorean's going to be able to crash into your couch at some point. When those features are rolled out on the app, it'll be at that point where we start to communicate that, or actually, sorry, to step back a little bit, when those features are actually in development and almost ready to go live, that is when we'll start to communicate a lot more about those kind of features. I think the one thing, especially on the was with crypto, people are so used to everything just literally moving at lightning speed. But at the end of the day, you know, Veve is a real business, and we are a business that operates in the real world. And a lot of the time, you know, we have restrictions like, you know, licensors. I mean, licensing is literally the slowest, most annoying moving industry in the world. You know, I like to talk about those features when people ask me on interviews because, you know, I want to make it clear to people who are watching that, you know, our vision for Veve doesn't literally just stop at selling some 3D models. I mean, you know, some of the stuff we have coming up, you know, that Trevor and I are working on right now is really, truly epic. And I absolutely cannot wait to share that with you guys and the wider audience. But, you know, in this day and age, you know, I am becoming a bit cautious now about announcing features too early because, to be honest, if those features don't come out the following day, I get a lot of shit for it. And, you know, most of my day is dealing with shit. So I'm really trying to minimize that now. So as those features become available, and I can assure you guys that there is a lot of awesome stuff coming, we will start to announce them. But just to circle back to the timing thing, you know, both David and I and the wider team have already invested 4 years in this business of basically back-breaking 18-hour days. You know, we are absolutely here for the long run. Veve has an opportunity to literally become the dominant player in this space in every type of NFT that is out there at the moment, no matter who they are. We can basically do, and we will be doing coming up in the future. So, you know, for any OMI token holders, I would like just to say that, you know, please share it in our long-term vision for this business. It's not a crypto pump and dump. You know, it's a real product backed by a token, and it is important for us as well to make sure that, you know, this all works in the real world, because, you know, sometimes the crypto world can be almost like its own little nexus on its own that can be a little bit disconnected of how a real world business needs to operate and run. But thanks for the question. That's a great one.
Nice. Seems we do have some questions from the floor now as well. Thank you everybody for making that transition. It might just make things a little bit easier. I might just take a moment to add to what you've just said as well, Dan, just so people understand that aside from the website, even though it may seem like there's a bit of a disconnect between the token and the business, that's part of the design. You know, we've built Veve to be for the mainstream. Now, we understand that right now a lot of our audience has come from crypto, and that's how they found it and why they understand NFTs, but crypto is intimidating, very intimidating for people who don't come from this ecosystem. And as they are the fandoms that we are trying to access, it's always been an integral part of the design to keep that in the background. So there's never an intention to go and post a lot of OMI token things on the Veve website, for example, because it just adds a layer of complexity that most fans and collectors aren't going to want to learn about or be interested in, let alone, you know, how confusing it can be for new users. So I think that part of the design of the app needs to be consistent across all of our public facing information, so that we can continue to access the mainstream audience, because fundamentally that's how this app grows to millions of users. You know, that's where the users come from. And if you're paying attention, or if you're from the crypto side, well, then you understand the value proposition of holding the token for the long term.
Hey, Reese and Dan C, this is Mark from vevewiki.com. We had Reese on a couple of weeks ago on our Clubhouse. I just wanted to say thank you so much for what you guys are doing. It's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? There is a lot of, you know, negativity and whatever else, but it is amazing. From my side, it's not really a question, it's more a request, Dan. Reese has probably heard this before. We want to help you guys with the data. You know, with VeveWiki, I've sort of put stuff out there, but what a lot of people ask for is sort of market data. We see it with evaluate.market. So, you know, we're there to try and help with that. If there is any sort of API that can be given out or any sort of feed, myself, Omi the Clown has put together an incredible video. Reese, I think you've seen it, of his little Ecomi investor site So yeah, from our side, thank you so much. And listen, if you could give us some sort of API or data feed, the community want to build some cool stuff for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first off, Mark, thanks so much for all your hard work on the Veve wiki. It's those kind of things that just, I mean, it's so encouraging to see everything that the audience does out there. And honestly, the audience activity is just fascinating. Now, when it comes to the API, I mean, right now, I'm not too sure if many people have read the terms and conditions, but we do clearly state in there that right now, tapping into that data can have quite a negative effect on the product. For the reason being is that, as you guys know, if the market is open and we have a drop, that puts quite a significant load on the server. As I mentioned just earlier, for the new users who have come in, we will be planning to close the market for an hour or so during the drops. The issue with the API is that, let's just say another 10 sites tap into the API. They are all tapping into exactly the same server that Veve runs off. So from our perspective, we need to be very, very careful. And before we release an official API, we need to know that the server capability is in place and the scalability is in place, because at the end of the day, our job is to keep the app experience up and running and performing in the best possible way. So, I have seen what Omi the Clown has done, and it does look amazing. But as I understand, he's had to go through many layers to tap into our API data, and we've purposely hidden to a few degrees that information, so the information, the servers are not put under any further undue stress until we are able to accommodate that. But the API is definitely on the list. I know there's a lot of demand out there for it, and ultimately it's going to, just provide a much better experience for our followers and people like yourself who want to tap into that data. So absolutely, it's on the plans. But in the meantime, just please be aware that that we need to be careful on our side, because we don't want to have any issues with the server, because we have a multitude of other resources tapping into the same data.
For sure, that totally makes sense. So we're here whenever you want us to reach out to us, Dan.
Thank you very much.
All right, maybe we'll take some of the requests to speak as well. If people want to come and join us, I might invite to run it up if you've got a question.
I have a question.
Go for it.
You said earlier about you were talking about gems or staking in general is definitely on your radar. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
To be honest, I don't want to elaborate on that too much right now. Once we really have refined exactly what the plan is going to be, I don't want to elaborate any more than what I did previously. When we have that more nailed down, then we'll start to release information out into the public. But as I mentioned earlier, what I will say for now is that staking is absolutely on the cards. I can't promise when that's going to happen, but obviously I know that it is a fairly high demand, especially for the Omi holders. But we do have, as I mentioned, a lot of other utility coming to the token. We want our Omi token holders to be able to have some advantage over your average user who comes in just spending dollars. So we are working on some pretty cool things on that side. So really all I can say is please stay tuned, and we'll be releasing that information as it gets more confirmed.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, run it up if you've got a question. I think you're sitting there waiting.
Hello, hello, run it up.
Maybe not. I can see you on mute there, just in case you are there, but I'll invite a few other people up to speak as well. And then we'll go from there.
Hey guys, I kind of had a couple suggestions, not really any questions. But when it comes to, so I've done a lot of buying and selling on eBay. I came more from the collectible side, not from the crypto side. I collect basketball cards. And one thing that helps me a lot in eBay, and I know it helps all of us a lot, is like a countdown, like a little clock whenever we're doing auctions, you know, for the items. That would be very helpful. And another thing I was going to say, like when it comes to the feed, is there any way that you could put like a time limit on people so that they don't spam stuff? You know, that's pretty.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Thank you. 100%. You know, we will actually have some limitations coming out very soon to the feed, which will basically mean that you can only share X number of market listings per day. Our support team does reach out to people who do spam the feed to basically say that they're going to lose access if they continue to do that, because really it just ruins the experience for other people. The feed is one of the other things on the radar that needs to undergo a few improvements. And really, like I've said before on a number of videos that I've done with Reese, we're really looking at version 1 of Veve right now. So the feed, all of those kind of things, as we scale up and we start to discover these sort of potential issues that come out from having so many users, we absolutely are aware of what's going on there, and we'll be putting some restrictions and limitations in place, and we'll more than likely tie those limitations into the Master Collector program. If you're a Master Collector level 6 or level 7, you're a trusted user, you've been through the app, you've done XYZ, and because of that, you will have greater capability within the app. And in terms of the auction countdown, 100%, I've absolutely heard feedback from the community, so that is also something we will be implementing. And also, just on the note of auctions, we do have an update to the My Bids in development right now. So for those of you who are familiar with the market, the very middle button at the top says new. When you click on that, it takes you to the browse screen and sort of filters by the latest listings. That's actually going to be replaced with a My Bids tab. And the whole idea behind this is just to give users a lot greater insight into all of the auctions that they are participating in, any pending payments that they might have, just to, like I say, make it a little bit easier for people to sort of manage and track any auctions they're participating in. So I think, thanks for the feedback. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, cool, man. Thank you. Actually, there was one more thing for because Dave Younes was talking about moments, like doing stuff like moments in the future. But I was kind of thinking like you guys do a lot of things with animations and stuff like that. It could be like cutscenes, cutscenes, like a Batman cutscene instead of like a moment, calling it a moment.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm not really too sure what Dave is mentioning there. But I mean, in terms of our digital collectibles, coming into season 2, as a lot of you guys know, anyone who was lucky enough to own a Ritmo, that was a nice free upgrade to Ritmo with some animation. And moving forward, as we work with Trevor and we continue to really build out our collectible backlog, we absolutely will be bringing out a lot more cool stuff like animation. I mean, like I say, this is literally just version 1, which is static for the most part, digital collectibles or 3D models. But having animation in there, or for example, having that T-Rex, running up to you with its mouth open, and to be able to do some really cool user-generated content around that, that really just takes things to the next level. So we absolutely will be heading into that. into that area.
Awesome. I can't wait for some more animations to hit the platform, that's for sure. Dan, how are you doing for time, mate? You okay to stick around for a couple more minutes, or?
Yep, I can field a couple more questions. Then I need to jump on a few more calls.
Yeah, I have a
Go for it.
Hey, I just wanted to ask if Veve is planning to use the processing powers of phones like Snapdragon or Pixel cores to enable better pictures with higher dynamic range.
We have to be very careful with higher dynamic range. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we service an extremely wide range of devices. However, what I will say is that we have just completed a massive upgrade to our rendering pipeline, moving it into what is now the sort of the leading rendering processing, which is called URP. And URP has a lot of really cool features. So number one, moving forward from here, once URP is implemented, which should be next week, all going well, it will actually, based on the power of the user's device, it will automatically apply anti-aliasing, so you can anticipate that the models will look significantly more smooth and more detailed as a result of that. And then also with URP, it allows us to do a lot more complex shaders. And a shader is basically, you know, when you texture a 3D model, or basically when you color it in, coloring in with these different textures, that's basically part of what's called a shader group. And with URP, it opens up the opportunity to have, you know, significantly better shaders that are very well optimized for mobile. So at the end of the day, you know, we have to consider the fact that we are operating on a wide range of devices. And, you know, for the more advanced features, yeah, we just have to be careful. It gets difficult to roll out certain features just for specific devices, rather than, you know, rolling out something that everyone benefits from. But as a lot of you guys probably know, you know, 5G is rolling out, edge computing is rolling out, and, you know, they are all technologies that we are looking into for the future of Veve.
Awesome.
Last question. For just like newer people that I mean, I talk to, like a lot of my coworkers, they buy collectibles now from Veve, and I tell them a little bit about the Veverse. But just for new people listening in, can you give your vision on the Veverse? Like, what's your dream for it?
Yeah, I mean, I won't go into too many specifics at this stage, but effectively the Veveverse will be a metaverse. That metaverse will contain land that you can purchase. And the whole idea, you know, really is that, you know, there are a lot of metaverses kind of popping up at the moment. But, you know, for Veve, our difference is that, you know, at the end of the day, we are a content provider. And we have a lot of really cool content both now and coming out in the future. And so, you know, the whole idea around the Veveverse is really to create this very cool, wide open universe into which you can place your showroom or showrooms and, you know, really build them up, multiple rooms, multiple levels. You can customize them, you know, to a high degree. And I think, as I've mentioned on some of my earlier videos, you know, we want to allow users to go to the lengths of, you know, even be able to put pot plants, or, you know, like imagine a big DC rug on the ground, or, you know, a specific DC shelf for your Batman black and whites, or a beautiful pedestal for your DeLorean. You know, the whole idea about the Veveverse is to provide just a much wider experience for users to be able to both interact in a multiplayer environment. You know, one of the features that we will more than likely include in that is some kind of really cool avatars, which we will be working alongside with our licensors. And again, you know, these avatars will be limited edition content. But the whole idea is just to really expand upon the showrooms, which, let's not forget, are literally version 1 right now. Or to be honest, I'll probably say that the showroom is version 0.5, because let's face it, it's a little bit shitty. But to really expand that experience out, so users just can do a lot more cool stuff with the collectible content that they own.
Woo! All right, thanks.
Hey guys, I got a question.
Right, last question, and then I'm gonna go.
Awesome.
Dan, Reese, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I love the app. I love what you guys have done. I see the vision. So, you know, I think this may have been covered. I came in a little late, but can you talk more about how you see transparency with NFTs? Because I think one of the challenges we're all having, and probably the reason why people are asking to access the API, is they want a little bit more transparency on, for example, you know, when that NFT is sold, how long it's been, who it's been transferred to, what price it's been sold at before, that kind of stuff. Just to get better idea of the value of their NFTs. Also, being able to easily sort through. I know there's a web version coming, be able to easily sort through serial numbers, or I could see like alerts if I get my special serial number popping up to alert me to go buy it, right? Or maybe even automatically go buy it through the app and have a setting for that or something like that. So just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Two great questions there. So number one, you know, I think, you know, just one thing to consider is that, you know, Veve has been a 3-year journey. And honestly, you know, even if we go back 1.5 years, you know, no one really even knew what an NFT was. I mean, yeah, there were people out there who knew what CryptoKitties were, and then, you know, all the spin-offs from that. But up until, let's just say, 6 months ago, NFTs were very, very low key. So that's sort of one side of it. The other side of it is that, you know, and this is, again, as I mentioned earlier, one big difference in Veve is that we work with licensors. And, you know, getting all of the licensors we have got on board was a very difficult and long road that took about 2 years. And I even remember back in the early days, we were like, oh, you know, don't worry, your product is totally secured because it's on blockchain. And, you know, they would all stand up and usher us out, and we're like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we can't be involved in that, you know, in blockchain because it's associated with that Bitcoin scam. So we have had restrictions and pressures from the licensor side, and that is one of the reasons that right now the NFTs are effectively held in a custodial sense by Veve. However, you know, the climate has changed a lot over the past 6-7 months. And, you know, I think I've alluded to the fact that we are looking to move to another chain, a chain that is far more suitable to NFTs. And when that takes place, there will be significantly more transparency. In fact, the level of transparency that, you know, you would normally expect with an NFT. And the last thing I'll say on that is, you know, we also just need to remember that we need to make sure that Veve will always remain a product that is available to the mass market. That has always been our #1 goal. And that's why Veve has been built the way that it is now, so we can really serve those people. In the interim, between now and when we do migrate to the new chain, which I can't give any timelines or any further detail on at the moment, just due to confidentiality, we will be adding into the app a price history feature. So you can absolutely see, when you tap on a collectible, right now we've got a section in there called appraisal value. You know, that doesn't really provide much value to the user. In fact, I think it's a little bit bung. And so we're going to be replacing that with a pricing history and ownership history, which will give some very clear indication of, you know, who has owned it, how long they owned it for, what price they bought it for, and then obviously the following user will be, you'll be able to see, you know, what the price was sold for to the last user. Sorry, just remind me, what was the second part of your question?
I think just alerts on like serial numbers or certain things.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, again, I keep going back to it that right now we never anticipated we would have the growth that we have right now. So, in the future we absolutely will be doing adding in different features, like you can have an alert for anything that's edition number 88 that comes up, and even to the degree if you find someone on the feed or in the extended profile that we are working on scoping out now, you might be able to find a user who has an edition number 88, for example, and you'll be able to make them an offer on that particular edition. Very soon, I'm hoping it'll be in the next app release, but if not, it should be by the end of next week. We'll be adding in the ability. Actually, we're making quite a few updates to the multiple editions screen in the market. And what I mean by that is that when you go to the market, you click on browse, you then see all of the collectibles, and there's very rarely you find just one edition of a collectible available. And as you guys probably know, up in the top right corner, there's a number, and that is the number of editions that are currently for sale. When you click on that tab, one of the updates we made based on feedback from the community is that there was really no ordering to that screen. So the first phase of the update to the screen is that we wanted to order everything by lowest to highest. And we did this for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're putting $1 million on a collectible, you're going to be so far down the bottom that no one's going to find you. So it's, in a way, it's going to help sort of self-govern that people are using realistic prices. Now, one of the issues that came up from that is that now, of course, you have to scroll through pages of auctions before you get to the buy now. So when you browse to this multiple screen, there will actually be 2 tabs at the top. One will be buy now, which will be by default sorted by lowest to highest, and then there will be an auctions tab, which again will be sorted by lowest to highest. And in addition to that, we will be adding in the feature that you can also sort by edition. So this change, and just remember that this product goes through iterations all of the time. So I really enjoy getting the feedback from the community. So anyone, please feel free to throw your ideas or your gripes in the feedback channel, because it's very valuable to us to understand what you guys are looking for. And so the whole idea around making this upgrade is so it's very easy to participate in buy now. It's far easier to participate in auctions, and you can in a more easy way find the specific edition number you want by filtering it by lowest to highest edition.
Thanks, Dan. Really appreciate the explanation. Looking forward to the updates.
No worries.
You got time for a quick one?
Okay, I can do one more. Better make it quick.
Really, really fast. So I was watching a video of you and David demoing the app, and some of the collectibles had some weird edition types, such as CE, EE, RE, VE, and AP, I think. And I wanted to just ask if you could comment on what those abbreviations stand for.
Geez, you must have been going through it at frame by frame, but yeah, well done. So basically, you guys may have already seen now that some of the edition types out there are, for example, FA or FE. And some of you may know that FA stands for first appearance. In the collectible world, there are a whole range of these different types of collectible editions that you can collect. And things like CE, for example, is what we will call a con exclusive. And so what that means is, for example, later this year when Comic-Con comes up, and hopefully, we all get to participate in that, by visiting it. But we will be doing releases that are con exclusives, and the only way to get access to those types of collectibles will to be at that con event, whether it's Star Trek Con or Comic-Con. There's tons of these events around the world, and the way that we differentiate these collectibles is by using this edition type. And one of the upgrades we'll be making fairly soon is that we'll be adding another row into the details section when you're viewing a collectible, that rather than saying FA, it will actually say edition type, and it will say first appearance. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. That's new to me. Thanks, Dan. Yep, we'll let you go, mate. Just a big thank you for swinging by and fielding some of these questions. I'm sure everybody appreciates it.
Yeah, no worries. And honestly, thanks so much, guys, for participating. I never anticipated there'd be 380 odd people in here. And so yeah, hopefully we can make these a little bit more of a regular thing, time allowing. And yeah, I'd just like to sign off by saying, you know, if I'm not chatting or if I've gone quiet, it literally is because I'm just hustling my ass off to you know, to make shit happen. So thanks very much, everyone. Really love your support. Yeah, and enjoy the rest of the Clubhouse. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. We really appreciate it. Guys, I'm happy to stick around and field some more questions. If you have any grammatical errors or spelling mistakes you want to tell me about or anything else, come on up and I will answer your things to the best of my ability. Oh, and I'll invite some people to speak too, so that would probably help us.
I know Lord had a good question.
Yep, shoot away if you've got something there. I know Lord's on mute at the moment, but
I'm trying to sift through it and find it here.
oh yeah, no problem. It's coming from the chat, is it?
Oh, it was a personal message that he'd sent me regarding. Well, I know one of the questions is MTL license when.
So many wins. Look, I'll take a moment to explain the money transmitter to people because I know that this is quite a common question. So in order for us to allow you to cash your gems back into OMI tokens or create an off-ramp back into fiat, we need a money transmitter license. To apply for that, if we were to do it ourselves, we would need a financial services license or an MTL license in every jurisdiction that Veve operated in around the world. Right now, you can group those into continents if you want, but even that is quite an extensive and costly process to acquire. So instead, we're integrating with a third-party MTL provider. They will handle all of the KYC and those kind of aspects that are required, right? And fundamentally, this is a legal requirement now, which we need to implement to protect ourselves as a company. But new FATFA rules aside, there has to be some element of KYC there for us to be able to do it. So same as most of our developments, it definitely got pushed back a few months to optimize the app and re-engineer those systems. I believe it's back on the table. And the last I heard Dan say, look, I hate to put dates to these things now because they just seem to come back and bite us in the bum. But realistically, I think we're probably 3 months off before that is rolled out and integrated into the app. Good news being that it is definitely coming, but I'll just keep people updated as I have more information on that front. It's absolutely a priority for us, but it needs to be properly vetted and it's not like we can just flick a switch and then we're good to go. There's a lot of things that need to be built into the app. You need to test the rest of the app around that integration as well. So yeah, I'll keep people updated on that as we move forward.
Thank you so much, kind sir.
You are very welcome. Was there another part to the question as well, did you say?
Yeah, it says Omi to gem when also.
Fair. Yeah, so that one we can definitely handle, and the devs have been refactoring it along with the rest of the system. Now, personally, I kind of thought we would get there a few weeks ago, but Kay from Hello K's YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier, makes some really good points on this that I think it's important to reiterate. So while it seems really simple to just swap OMI into gems, there's a lot of transactions that take place for that to happen, right? It's you're swapping your token, it's moving to a vault, it has to register that balance in your account. That balance has to be accurate. The token movements throughout the wallets have to be accurate. When you make a purchase, it pushes only through your wallet. So there's actually a lot of things involved that are more than just swapping the token to the gem and updating a balance. And second to that, when we're allowing those transactions, it's dealing with your money, right, and people's finances. So we need to make sure that not only that system works, but it will work under load, right? Because as we've seen from the last few months, the huge influx of users has absolutely put the app and our systems under a lot of load. But it also has to handle that load moving forward. You know, if we drop a new license and an extra 200,000 people join the app, we have to make sure those systems can maintain that kind of stability as we move forward. So, look, I know it's in testing again right now and going through QA. If it goes well, we turn it back on. If there's something else that needs to be updated, it basically goes back to the code base, you know, and we rebuild that, retest it under load, put it through all those kind of mechanisms before it can roll out. So, look, I'd love to give you it's happening this day, but as of right now, I can say that it's absolutely being worked on still. It's being built and tested, and as soon as I have a date or more, I'll let you know.
Awesome. Yeah, that was all of his question. Thank you.
No problem. You are very welcome. If somebody else wants to chime in, Hugo or Jesse or Steve, anyone there?
Hey, Reese, thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
No worries at all. We'll try and make these a weekly or a bi-weekly event. It's pretty hectic in Telegram and things these days, so I think this is a better avenue for people to chat to us.
I have 2 questions, and they're both pretty easy, I think. First one is Ecomi an acronym, a word, like a word mashup, and what does it stand for? What's it mean?
I do love easy questions. No, not to my knowledge. When this company was initially started, we were operating under Orbis as a different banner. And then we started to move into market, and before we knew it, someone else had claimed the name Orbis. I think there was a token and a few things. So went back to the drawing board on the name. I guess it became a mashup, but I think it was really taking from Ecomi or something similar like that, because we were going to move into, I guess, a financial sector at the time, especially with the wallet being the first product. But Ecomi just felt right. It just rolled off the tongue well, and that's what stuck.
Do you prefer the pronunciation Veve or Veve?
Veve. Initially, it's always been Veve, and it used to be separated with a hyphen, VE-VE, which probably made it easier to pronounce. But we also owned the trademark of just VEVE, and when sort of 6 months ago when we started launching the app, or maybe a little bit earlier than that, it became very apparent that people were Googling without the hyphen. So from a ease of use and easy to find us point of view, we dropped the hyphen from the name. So in my mind, it will always be Veve. Don't wait for me, guys. Come at me. Hit me with some questions.
Hello, Rhys, can you hear me?
Beg your pardon?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, got you loud and clear.
Okay. Yes, I had a question. Sorry if this question has already been asked because I arrived later on the call, but I wanted to know why the rare has been changed with the uncommon for the drop of today. And my second question was I wanted to know if under you we are in a speculative bubble regarding the NFT, because we can see that the day of the drop, people sell by time 5 or 10 the price of the NFT, and 1 month later it sell under the price of the day of the drop. So I wondered if under you we are in a speculative bubble, or it's maybe just because it's crypto investors that sell and buy to other crypto investor, and that maybe the collectioner are not still arrived. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yep. So great questions. The first one with the change, that is what you call a classic editor's mistake. So the Medium article is accurate now. I think I just may have put in some of the wrong copy there, and just had the collectibles the wrong way around. So what you see in the Medium article now on the VV blog is accurate, and I think the change was, let me look it up. Robin is now the uncommon, if I'm right.
Yeah, he's the uncommon now.
Yeah. So that's accurate now. That was my bad. So apologies on that front. Now, when it comes to the speculative bubble, no, I don't think we're in a speculative bubble to start with. I am a firm believer that the free market decides the price of these collectibles. Now, I really think that some people get a bit too greedy when they list these things, and yeah, maybe early on people were willing to pay higher prices for them, just because there was some excitement there and things like that. But fundamentally, the prices that are set or that people can sell their collectibles at are determined by the prices other collectors are willing to pay for them. So a price dropping below the price that it was sold at, and really I'll take a moment to point out that our collectibles are very fairly priced in the store compared to a lot of NFTs that are available in the space. If somebody's selling for less than that, well, that's their choice. You know, that's not a bubble. That's not something popping. That's the market deciding what they think the value of that collectible is. Now, moving forward, as we continue to bring on new users and actually access the fans of these brands, I think that people that are holding these Season 1 collectibles probably stand to receive some sizable returns from those things. It all just depends on the person on the other side of that screen. Are they willing to pay more for something than you bought it for? Are they purchasing it because they're a fan of the brand and they actually really want that collectible? Or are they just trying to flip these things? Because the flippers, I think flippers learn the hard way sometimes that just owning something doesn't mean that somebody else will pay you more for it,
Okay, thank you very much for.
No problem. Might invite a few other people to speak as well, guys. Anyone that's, if anyone's asked their question and wants to return to the audience just to make my life a little bit easier.
I'll chime in if I may. My question is there any plan to introduce a different process or system for drops, such as like a queue, like the NBA Top Shot, or something entirely different to relieve the rush that everybody's going at the same time? And if so, is that going to be sometime soon or down the road? Thank you.
Short answer, no. The obviously we saw some issues with the system early on, but right now the drop system and the reservation system is on point. It actually works really well. And Dan mentioned earlier that we'll be taking the market offline during the drops just to give it that extra bit of load. But no, the drop days have always been an integral part of the design of Veve. I know it's frustrating if you really want a collectible and you don't get it, but on the flip side, that's kind of part of the fun. That's part of the challenge of trying to get in and being there at the drop time to obtain those collectibles. So no, there's no planned changes to create a lottery system or anything like that just yet. I personally would be against it for that reason. It's also, from a business, from an app point of view, it helps with app retention as well. If you want that collectible, you've got to be in the app at the time that it's being released, which continues to bring that excitement to the collectibles and to the app itself. Obviously, people think we're crazy getting out of bed at 1 a.m. to try and get these collectibles, but I don't know about you guys. It's turned me into a child again. I absolutely love it. So no plans to change that drop system yet. We'll continue to scale it out. I think what we're more likely to see, and this has been mentioned a few times, is once we've got a good backlog of assets, thanks to Trevor's hard work. We'll spread the drops out, that, you know, they might be at different times, or there might be 2 a week, or things like that once the system is fully rolling, which will help to take some of the load off what we're seeing right now, right? Because at the moment we're seeing people are just trying to buy anything and everything. It's not because they're necessarily a fan of that brand or particularly want that collectible. There is that speculation that holding early collectibles will be more valuable, or they might be able to flip them in the market. But I think that moving forward, once we can spread that load out across multiple drops and different brands and different edition numbers and those kind of things, it will spread that out too. But yeah, fundamentally, drop days are sticking around.
Cool. I do agree that it brings a little more excitement to it. As long as the system can sustain it, I think it's okay to go this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. No, you're very welcome. Yeah, and you're right. You know, we have to ensure that the system can sustain it. If that changes in the future, then sure, we'll revisit things and re-strategize. But you know, now we've got some full-time scalability experts in the background. I think we're pretty confident that we'll be able to maintain that moving forward.
Hey, Reese. So thank you for letting me speak. And I know that a lot of people here in the Discord are heavily invested in both Veve and Ecomi, and so it's hard to not correlate the transition between the two. And I just kind of wonder, you know, we see things like the comment from Dave Yu that says new exchange May, and I so much hate to be the guy that has to ask this, but are we maybe possibly seeing a new exchange in May?
I hate to be the guy that can't answer this. Look, David, I think we can all see the excitement of David Yu. He's you know, I feel like a kid, but he's a kid in a candy store, you know, and you can see that he's trying to hold things in and not reveal too much and all those things. Yeah, look, I think Dan has said before there's a better than average chance we'll see one in May. So I guess we'll stick with that answer for now.
Sounds good. Thanks, Reese.
No worries. And look, just for everybody else, you know, I completely understand we all have tokens. We're all part of the Veve community as well. And both sides of that equation are important. There's a lot of different stakeholders in this project. You will have some that are just collectors, some that just hold the token, some that love both. So we really are trying to cater to all communities and subsects of our, you know, of this space. And with that comes plenty of exchange listings and a lot of things on the crypto side, as well as the collectible side. So yeah, when we start to roll out more exchanges, like it's not like we're going to just roll out one more and then that's it. I think we're expecting to be on quite a few by the end of the year. But there's a very definitive strategy that comes with that. You know, the exchanges you list on, where you're trying to target a specific user base or open access to a country that may not have had it before, you know, and then you leverage that audience to grow the audience of Veve, which in turn benefits token holders anyway, and then you can level up that way. So yeah, there's always a strategy behind it, and there'll be more on the way.
Thank you.
So I've got just a couple of things to say. Most of my questions that I've had were answered by Dan when he was speaking. So I really appreciate being able to hear from him. The one thing I am kind of curious about is the size of the team at the moment that's working on Veve. I'm guessing you guys have been growing it lately. What kind of size of team are you working with right now?
Yeah, that's correct. We have been growing, and I guess from here on in, we will always be growing. I think at last count, Dan said, you know, we had about 25. In terms of core team that has been around for the last 4 years, outside of the devs, there's probably 5 or 6 of us. But the dev team is what's growing exponentially now. You may have seen on Twitter, we've put out some more advertisements for some a senior engineer, I think, and a back-end engineer, something like that. So yeah, I think in terms of team, 25, maybe 30, and that will continue to grow with our needs.
All right, I really appreciate you clarifying that for me, because that was my impression, was that it was a very small team. And I just want to extend to you, and if you can pass it on to the team, as someone who's in this as a huge fan of collectibles and has now moved to the app and seen that, and then also someone who understands the crypto side of it. I'm excited for the future of this project. I'm excited to be a part of it, and the fact that you guys are doing what you're doing with such a small team is astounding to me. I'm happy to be this early, and I want to encourage all 342 of you in this room to pat yourselves on the back for being this early to something this awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very much appreciated, and you know, I mean, there's no lies about it. We're all doing a lot of work to make sure that we can continue this this story, you know, and the support that you guys show us fundamentally and in the community and just comments like that, you know, it just makes it all the more worth it. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I kind of wanted to share my thoughts on how, like, why I think the market listings and the prices, the price dip and everything. I think that's really, there's like an optical illusion there. Like the amount of items that are listed are like 10% or less than the actual mint size. So there's 90% of the people are holding. So the stuff that's on the market right now, this is the time to get it. If people are listing it under retail, that's their loss. Like, this is the time to get it. When the new blood comes in, then that's done with. And the question that I had for you was, I wanted to know your thought process when it comes, like, how do you decide when on drop days what countries get availability or the whole world?
Yeah, so I think this is something that some people really misunderstand. We aren't the decision makers on that in terms of which country. That depends on the licensing agreement. So right now, our license with Cartoon Network, at least for Powerpuff Girls and Adventure Time, I'm pretty sure it will be for the other Cartoon Network brands that we have on board as well. It's the licensing agreement itself that limits where those products can be sold. Now, that tends to come down to the licensing agreements that those companies already have with other companies for merchandising or sales rights or things like that. So where Cartoon Network, we can only sell in China, you know, in the Chinese stores. Ultraman, for example, we could sell globally outside of China and Japan. That's because somebody else, or, you know, I think it's a branch of Subaraya, has the licensing rights for all merchandising or all product design or sales within those jurisdictions. So it really just comes down to the licensing agreement itself and the agreement that we have with those licensors.
That's weird, because I mean, we could just buy it on the secondary market. Now an American has it, you know? So it's like
Yeah, absolutely. And look, that's a beautiful way that we have designed something in to allow everybody to still collect their favorite brands, right? You're right. It's kind of funny that from the store you can't buy it, but 5 seconds later you can buy it in the market. But that also just really encourages people to participate in the market too, you know, and once the Veve user base grows, it's global as it is, but, you know, once it continues to spread out and grow out, it just really, it creates a lot more activity in the market as well, which, if you're a token holder, obviously helps because it's burning tokens. But if you're a collector, well, it means you can fundamentally collect anything you're a fan of. You might just have to do it a different way.
I mean, the good thing is that we could ignore, like, our community could ignore the crypto world. They could crash and burn. That doesn't matter. Like, as long as we're buying the collectibles, I don't even see them as NFTs. I think NFT is kind of it links it to the crypto world. It should just be a collectible, because the collectibles market has been around for 100+ years.
Exactly right. And like we said earlier, that's why the app has been designed this way. You know, it doesn't matter what's happening in crypto. If you're a fan of something and here's this brand or this product you absolutely love, and now you can show your fandom, you know, by collecting that. You don't need to know about crypto. It doesn't have to have anything to do with it. You can come in and continue to be a fan of that product or that brand.
Oh, my bad. Still talking?
Yeah, possibly. But if you've got a question, go for it.
Yeah. So it's just from the Telegram group. I know the answer to this one, but just so they can hear it, is VV looking to have like a stock market listing?
Do you mean, are we looking to take the company public?
Yes.
I think it's a little early days for that.
Cool. Yeah, I knew the answer to that. I just wanted to ask for him.
Yeah, look, no, I mean, I don't really want to speak on behalf of Dan and Dave on this one, but aside from being too early, opening yourself up as a public company means that you have to deal with, fundamentally public companies have to change from being user-based, which is what we're building for. We're building this experience for you guys, to profit-driven, and that's not how we operate now, and that's not how we want to operate.
And that's why I love you guys.
Thanks, man. Love you too.
Anyone mind?
Just a reminder, guys, if anyone's had their questions answered, if you want to just return to the audience, and I'll continue to bring some people up, and we'll go for another 20 minutes or something, and then I better do some work, I suppose.
Anyone mind if I step in?
Go ahead.
Yep, go for it.
I just want to start by thanking you, Reese, the team, and this awesome community we got. I came in 2 months ago with the NFL license. With there being 1,500 players in the NFL, is there any plan for how you guys are going to handle that? Because I can't see dropping 5 players at a time and maybe hitting every fan base.
Yeah, to be completely honest with you, I don't have a lot of the details as to how we will handle the NFLPA drops. You're right. I don't think it will just be a 5 players at a time like we're sort of dropping series now. Yeah, I think we'll have to stay tuned for that. Personally, I think that particularly with sports brands, that blind boxes and like packs would be the best way to be able to release those kind of things, because then it stimulates the secondhand marketplace as well. If you're not getting the players you want, or you want to try and build your own team within your collection. But we'll have to wait until closer to release to kind of have some more details on that.
Oh, awesome, because that's even better. To throw opening a pack or something doubles the fun. And just want to say thank you all one more time. This is a great escape from my wife and 6 kids.
That's most excellent. Most excellent.
You are very welcome. I'm glad you're hanging out with a bunch of people on the internet instead. All right, who else has got a question? Let's do this.
I have a couple from the VV Hive in the chat.
Nice, go for it. Also, welcome VV Hive. Thanks for being here, team.
Thank you for having us. Someone wanted to know, will a buyback happen? Talking about OMI tokens, and if it does happen, would it happen once or in parts?
Yeah, so buybacks are definitely they're in the system. Last I heard, it's still going through our accounting and legal and those kind of things, just to figure out the best way to go about it. Now, once the buybacks do start, it's a constant thing. So, as you guys are probably aware, any sales in the store, we will be taking up to 10% of that revenue to purchase the OMI token back from exchanges, and that's fundamentally to resupply the in-app reserve. But it's just a core part of the tokenomic design. So when that happens, and look, I have to say outright, I'm ad-libbing here. This is my assumption as to how this would run effectively. Say throughout the month of May, we have X amount of drops and X amount of revenue. You take that 10%, and then throughout June, it might be set up to buy, say, whatever amount every minute, or maybe a certain amount per day throughout the following month. And then the cycle continues, right? So whatever revenue comes in June from the sale of collectibles in the store would then be put towards buybacks in July. So yeah, once that really opens up, especially with the MTL and the buybacks and all those things, we'll really start to see that tokenomic system kick into gear.
Got it. Perfect. That sounds great. Another one. when will we be able to trade collectibles within the market? Not buy and sell, but actually just trade.
Yeah, that one's definitely a bit further down the line. Obviously, there's some big integrations that kind of have to be built in for that to happen. I can't give you a date on that. I don't want to put a guess on it because someone will hold me to it in 3 months' time. But it's definitely in the roadmap and slated for development. So yeah, I think we're likely to roll out the master collector and things like that first, and make sure that that's all good to go, and then the trading side will come in down the line. But that's something I'm personally excited for. As Dan was saying earlier, being able to search for editions, or there was chat with Trevor recently that you might be able to walk into somebody's showroom and touch their collectible, and it gives you the collectible information and make an offer at that point. Now that might be 12 months off, but I think it would be really awesome if in making that offer, instead of offering X amount of gems, you could offer your 3 Murmicornos or whatever it happens to be. So yeah, it's something coming, but I can't give you an exact as to when.
Okay. There's a couple more here. This person seems to be having. Are you familiar with any issue with the iPhone not being able to scale their collectibles?
Yeah, iPhone SE, it seems to be the only one that is affected, and the devs are aware of it, if that's the phone they're using, and they're building a fix. So yeah, I think the same thing was happening. Sorry, it wasn't a scaling issue, but I know that the Galaxy S20 was having some issues crashing maybe a month or two ago now. I think that's been resolved. So when this rolls out through the app stores and onto different devices, it's obviously built for as many devices as possible. But for whatever reason, whether it's a specific phone hardware issue or something, we do face intermittent bugs like that, that only affect some devices. Which makes it harder to fix as well, because it's not a blanket thing. But the devs are always aware of those things. If anybody's having those issues, obviously a support ticket is the place to go. And then it comes through our support channels and gets passed to QA anyway.
Got it.
Hey, Reese, I have a question.
Go for it.
I was just wondering, like, do y'all have a timeline on like when might the app be updated, as far as like just efficiency, just making it run a little better?
Yep. I mean, it's happening all the time, right? The devs are always kind of pushing back-end fixes and back-end updates. I think we usually roll out something more major every couple of weeks. But for the most part, my experience is pretty seamless, and I think that 95% of people would say the same. Is there a specific issue that you're facing?
Mainly like just like scrolling through like the marketplace and things like that. Just it refreshing, kind of weird. Just having a smoother experience, I guess I would say.
Yeah. So I think a lot of those things will probably be sorted with those sorting updates that Dan mentioned earlier, when the next update to the market and things rolls out. But I know what you mean. As you're rolling through, it doesn't seem to refresh as quickly as it could. So that's all a scalability thing that is constantly in development. So.
Okay, cool. Hey, I had a question for Trevor. You want to get carried in league?
Yes, please.
All right. Thanks, guys. Loving what y'all doing.
Welcome, Trevor.
Yeah, making a surprise celebrity guest appearance for anybody who has Legends related.
Cameo. That's it, guys. For anyone that doesn't know Trevor, he is our digital production extraordinaire. Now, Trevor, I think you're jumping into a chat with Dave from marketing pre-drop. Is that right?
Yep, I'll be there in the morning.
Nice. Well, while you're here, guys, if you've got any collectible questions, send them in.
What do you mean by collectible questions?
Well, Trevor is the man responsible for creating our collectibles and our assets. So if you have anything more specifically related to that side of the business, let's grill him. Oh, I just had one. Yeah, go for it.
Mark here from. Oh, hey Trevor, how you going? Mark here from Veve Wiki. Yeah, a lot of people are asking about the Batman Who Laughs. We saw the mock-up at the interchangeable weapons and stuff. Can you say anything about that? Because yeah, obviously it's dropping tonight, tomorrow.
I actually can't because I actually didn't work on that asset specifically.
There we go. Okay, so potentially down the track, but not very soon.
I don't want to make any promises there. Yeah, I'm not, sorry. I know I'm really coming out of the gate swinging here with a great answer for you, but I don't really have an answer for that one right now. Sorry.
That's okay. Hashtag soon. All good. I guess it's just about, a lot of people have been asking about, like add-ons to the models, right? We've seen the nice present you gave us last week with the animated model. So a lot of people are keen to know, like, when can we accessorize or do anything with our models there?
It's definitely something we're looking into. One of the challenge, at least from a content to development challenge, it's like we have enough where there's so many models in the system, and there's obviously going to be so many more coming in the next coming months. So finding something where dedicating time to building new stuff as well as revamping, improving old stuff, it's going to be a balance that we have to strike. It's something I'm interested in, but like the things that I want to look for is like, what can we do that's going to deliver value to a lot of models as possible. It's like it's more efficient, but it's also, it just gives everybody that boost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Also, thanks for jumping in here when you've just woken up, Trevor. That's really appreciated, mate.
LA, it's late at night. I haven't gone to bed yet.
Hashtag Team Reese.
Yeah, Team Reese or Team Trevor, you tell me.
Yeah, I have a question for Trevor and Reese, which is regarding the NFTs that are audio/video. Trevor would, I assume, maybe play a less part in NFTs that would play audio, maybe like a record or something like that, and how you feel about that. And also, as a follow-up to a previous conversation we had earlier with Dan, is with Reese, I know that you're a fan of Hello K, and we talked about him, having a good place in the YouTube place, but he also is, one of those quote unquote, in Dan's space, 5% douchebag scenario where he's collecting NFTs that are ultra rares that nobody else has access to because he has multiple accounts. And do you have anything to speak about that?
Not specifically about K. I mean, it's not something that I'm aware of. But obviously, people see the potential future value of these collectibles. So I'm not surprised that is part of someone's strategy. But same as I said before, it's all well and good to collect multiple of a collectible, but the free market will decide whether they're actually going to pay for those collectibles. So I think some people will be on the wrong side of that equation and be left holding some things that they probably can't get rid of, or they have to sell for a more reasonable price. And as Dan mentioned earlier, with the market listings now sorted lowest to highest, if you're asking an unreasonable price, you're going to be so far down that list that why would you skip a collectible that's half the price only to go to one that's twice the price? So I think that really we'll keep building in ways to make this more equitable for everybody moving forward anyway.
Fair enough. Are we going to see album covers, records, anything like that? And how does Trevor feel about the 3D models and everything like that, with audio plays and videos and things like that?
I'll let Trevor talk. Yeah, Trevor, you wanted to talk about the technical aspect of that?
Yeah, so it's like, it depends on what we're doing with it. So now, audio and video are interesting because that's almost entirely a licensing challenge than a content challenge. Actually getting audio or video to display in engine is fairly simple, and when you do it once, you can kind of do it for everything. So I can't speak to audio or video collectibles so much, but I guess I can talk about like sound and audio as a feature is something that we're exploring. And hopefully something that you'll start seeing. There's some really cool stuff also because we're working in like a 3D space, we're working in a 3D engine, we get really cool, we can do cool sound effect stuff like actually have things sound like it's in the room you're in. So there's this concept of like attenuation, which is basically this where a sound is in space, and we can like basically model that in 3D in the engine, so it can actually not just sound like, oh, something's playing back, but it's actually in the room and it's in the location where the sound is coming from, which is one of the cool things about the 3D models and working in a 3D engine.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, you just got me more excited, Trevor.
I mean, that's just how, honestly, that's kind of how audio works in 3D engines, 3D game engines. Since we're in Unity, or everything's like rendered in that space, that tech is available to us. So we are definitely interested in leveraging it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know, as a, maybe a feature in the showroom, there's been discussion that you might walk in and there's a record player and you tap the record player and that would start playing the music, and whether that's licensed music or maybe theme music from a film or something like that we already have the license to. I don't know, but just to add that sort of functionality to the showrooms as well will be pretty amazing.
It's just going to be recordings of me singing into a webcam mic, actually.
Numa, eh?
You're damn right.
Thank you for taking my question.
Maya.
Too good. All right. Who's up? Someone got a question there?
I said Buck Nasty hates to be that guy, but Trevor, when drivable T-Rex?
Can we make drivable T-Rex a meme first, and then we'll work on it? I love the idea, honestly, of like being able to control it. It's hard though. It's harder to build.
Appreciate it.
I can't wait for a drivable T-Rex. All right, who else have we got here? Andy Munamacha, are you in here, bud? I will take your silence as a no. Christmas, you got a question there? Okay. Anybody else want to chime in with the question?
I have one real quick that we were kind of discussing earlier in the chat regarding the first appearances, first editions. There seems to be some confusion because you've got a first appearance of a Robin, a first appearance of a Batman, and you've got 12 other Batmans or whatever, and then you've got 4 first appearance DeLoreans or 4 first appearance Dragon Girls, and I was kind of under the impression that those were all the same, but they were separate models because of the interactability or because of the color differences and that kind of thing. But there's still kind of debate as to what the actual reasoning for that was. Can you clear that up for us?
Yeah, to be honest, I will have to get confirmation from Dan as to exactly why. But my impression is the same. When it comes to Batman, the first appearance is the first time that Batman has ever appeared in this kind of format, and obviously the first editions were the rest of that Series 1. You're right. I think that the stance we took with the DeLorean, because they were all technically different models, they become different collectibles and therefore are first appearances. And I'm running on the assumption that that's the same stance with the Dragon Girl. Even though they all look the same, I guess technically they're different models, obviously based on the colorways. But for example, the silver and the gold and silver, they don't have the tattoos and some of those features that the pink and black and the original one do. So I guess from a collecting standpoint, they're technically different models, which puts them in the category of all being first appearance. Now, presumably we won't then release a second round of Dragon Girls because, I feel like they've been done. So I don't know if they'll always, I don't know that there'll be another Dragon Girl that won't be a first appearance. But yeah, I think that's the differentiation. If it's a different collectible, Even though the differences might just look like a colorway, then it will always be a first appearance collectible.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for clearing that up.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
I'll allow it.
Hi, okay. Reese, so basically I have a question for you and Trevor. So I'm getting one of the questions from the Telegram groups is that they're asking regarding the UI because they're complaining it's kind of basic. And is there any timeline that you guys are gonna redo it? And the second question is for Trevor. I've seen you in the YouTube videos that the shadows in the models was bugging the hell out of you. So on a technical perspective, how easy it is for you to implement the users to adjust the shadows that it matches in real time, so photos will be more pleasing.
Trevor not liking shadows? That doesn't sound right.
All I do is to hate. I hate on the chat.
It's too good. Look, I'll jump in first. Do you know what specifically they're referring to when it comes to the UI?
They were mentioning it's kind of basic. It doesn't really catches the eye. It's not quite intuitive. I mean, that's all I'm getting from the chat. So I'm just passing it on.
Yeah. No worries. That's a fair comment. I think we've kind of said a few times now that this is version 1 of the app, and right now, I mean, it's visually appealing, but it's definitely functional. And that's been the focus for now, to make sure that it has to be easy to navigate, or as easy to navigate as we can make it, for new audiences that come in, and obviously people that are new to the app. Now, personally, I think that it's pretty easy to find things, from drops to the market and the way that that's divided. But as we move forward, as new implementations roll out, and really just as the app develops, those things will continue to develop too, just to make it more vibrant, I guess is the word. I know early on people were commenting on the greys and the whites and those things. Now that's part of our general branding and color kit anyway, but the thinking behind that is, we don't want those auxiliary parts, like just the titles and things, to take away from the collectibles themselves, or the licensing, the licensors themselves. That's really where the color comes from, and that vibrancy that adds to the app. So I think that will always remain the focus, because that's where ultimately we want your attention. But the app will continue to develop as we move along. So hopefully that answers the question a bit, and I'll let Trevor talk to you about some shadows.
First of all, I will say that I also agree with the UI. It's something that will improve upon. As far as shadows go, there's shadows are actually, lighting is, okay, dirty little secret about game development. When I was working at Sony, basically we had a 33 millisecond frame budget, which basically means everything that we're trying to draw on the screen has to be drawn in 33 milliseconds in order to maintain the frame rate. Of that 33 milliseconds, about 20 of it was dedicated just to lighting, because lighting is extremely expensive and extremely complicated to do, especially in real time. So for us to make lighting improvements and shadow improvements are some of the most complicated things we can do. There's a lot of steps we can take, but getting it to look better while still being performant is very challenging. So we're looking for those kinds of things, but it's going to take time. And it's also the kind of thing, like if we're on mobile hardware. So we're just going to be limited by the hardware to some level until the phones continue to get a lot better. That's just kind of the reality of it. But it's definitely something we're looking into. I also think part of the problem isn't just in-engine lighting, but kind of how the pictures, like how the app is actually taking pictures and doing image capture. But I'm not entirely sure about that. I can ask.
Right. Thank you so much, guys, for doing this. Thanks.
No worries. And just on the topic of image capture, I know there's an update coming soon that will also let you take video in the app as well and share directly to socials or to the feed and those things, because right now I think most people are just screen recording. So just to make everyone aware that is also coming. I think there's also a bit of a compression thing if you turn your phone landscape instead of portrait. Sometimes it your collectible gets a little bit taller when you take that photo. So yeah, just another thing that is being worked on as well.
Hey, question, Reese. It's been a while since we've got an update on the number of users in the app. I'm wondering if you can give some color on number of users, number of daily active users or monthly active users. I also heard that there was some demographics, that there's a decent amount of female users, which is pretty exciting, for games and things like that, or an app like Veve. Can you just give us some more color, I guess more on the investor side, right? The OMI token holders, on just how it's looking and the engagement level.
Yeah, to be honest, I'll have to get an update from Dan on that. I don't see the daily numbers. Obviously, we said 250,000 a while ago. I don't think we've hit the 300,000 yet. Obviously, we're getting a bit closer. But with all the, from a user point of view, if you're a new user, you come to the app and you can't purchase anything in the store, and everything in the market is overpriced and all those things. It's not the most attractive first impression to a lot of users. So yeah, look, I think that the new user growth has probably slowed a bit, as I think we probably all expected at this point, without having pushed any of our marketing out. But I'll have to get an exact update on that. Yeah, you're right about the demographic. Dan definitely mentioned a little while ago, I think we were 40-60 female male, or 45-55, something like that, which is pretty exceptional, I think, at this point. Especially for this kind of product, for something that really is moving collectibles into a digital space. But I guess because of that, it makes it much more accessible. And I know a lot of people ask, some collectibles seem like an odd choice, or some brands like originally when we went to drop the unicornos or the mermicorns, people were questioning it, and then before long, everybody had 10 unicornos in their showroom, male or female. But we obviously want to continue to bring on brands that will appeal to both sides of that equation, because this is just a really good chance for people to have fun again, and be inspired by that collectability, or reestablish that collector mania, so that Veve does become a household name. So look, I'll look for an update on that soon, and I'll put it out in the weekly wrap up if I've got it.
Thanks, Reese. And yeah, we're definitely having fun over here. And I also appreciate the ability to easily market my collectible versus like a physical collectible where I've got to actually physically sell it and put it on eBay or something like that. And that could take forever to find a buyer, where I feel like, this is an easy way to buy and sell collectibles.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is a much more user-friendly way to bring together fans and collectors in one place. As you just said, if you were trying to sell something on eBay, not only do you have to package it up and go through the process of sending it and all that, you have to figure out how to locate the collector on the other side of that transaction that really wants what you have. Whereas I think we've all quickly learned that digitizing the whole experience, everybody's in the same place. You can literally just scroll through the collectibles you want and then go and interact with them in AR or in your showroom, which, we're really turning this industry on its head. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you.
I had a question for Trevor.
Mic check.
You mentioned that you wanted to make the value of the collectibles go up, and there was one collectible that popped in my mind when you said that, and that's the 2D. A lot of people are, they're always people footing the 2D art, and I think a lot of has to do with it, like, is the aesthetic part. There's a lot of rough edges. The shadows don't really match the thickness of the frame, and there's certain things that I think could get kind of cleaned up when it comes to that. And then the second part is Dan had mentioned about he was talking about the Veveverse. I was freaking out over here when he was talking about the Veveverse. So it sounds like it's gonna expand from the vault. So is it safe to assume that all those the mountain range that's all around the vault, is that like the beginning of the Veveverse?
I would describe the mountain range as a skybox that is kind of temp and needs to be replaced with something a lot better. I would also, I guess to your question, like a more serious answer to your question about the 2D, I think there's a lot of things we're trying to do that we want to do to improve the systems. Again, those 2D collectibles were kind of first stubs in that category. So there's a lot of space where we can do to make that better. And we do have the one of the affordances of being in a digital space like this is that if we make new 2D collectibles and we improve the frames and we improve the rendering and we have like higher res versions of the assets, it's pretty easy for us to swap that in. Texture work tends to be simpler for us to do than new 3D work, and the frames are the kind of thing that's like, if we have frames are generally kind of a standard size for those comic books. So if we come up with a newer, better, higher resolution, for lack of a better word, frame, that could be something we could swap in pretty easily. And I think that that's a small example, but speaks to kind of a larger goal, which is like, if there are opportunities to make things better at a fairly low cost to us, fairly high ROI kind of thing, where we can make a small change that makes the collectible a lot more valuable and a lot better looking to the people who have it, that's something that we're very interested in doing.
Well, I think there's a difference between like the frame being cleaned up and like changing a misprint, you know, because sometimes misprint as a collector is even more valuable. Like that, one of the Harleys has an earring that's all weird. So like
that earring was actually confirmed to not be a misprint. On the actual physical model, it is that way as well.
Whoa. Well, it just looks weird. It just looks. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be that way.
Agreed. And just on the misprint front, David Yu is very aware of that aspect of collecting, that a little misprint or something that slips by us or the licensors can definitely change the value of a collectible. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of those stick around too if they are identified as that. Just on what you were saying there, Trevor, maybe you can touch on, Dan mentioned that we are just upgrading to a new render engine as well, URP, UPA, something like that. Do you have any insight into that? What does that sort of allow us to do, and what, how can we then augment our collectibles in better quality?
All right, so for those of you who know a little bit about Unity, for the longest time, they've had this thing called the Standard Render Pipeline, SRP, and in the last couple years, they introduced a new thing. There's two of them. There's HDRP, which is the high definition render pipeline, which is mostly for very high NPC or like virtual production work. And then they have URP, which is basically a more performant and more fully featured render pipeline for basically for kind of like the application that we're using it. So that was kind of the upgrade we made. Immediate improvements are going to be harder to notice on the collectibles, but the value is it's certainly a lot more performant, and it also allows us to build like new shaders and more custom materials and stuff more quickly when we start getting to a world where, along with sound effects, visual effects is something we're interested in, and URP opens up opportunities for like GPU-based visual effects and stuff like that, which is some of the features that Unity provides with that. It's mostly kind of more technical and more development side stuff than stuff that's going to be player-facing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I was curious about that since Dan mentioned it earlier, but good to know that we're opening up the back end to more possibilities there anyway.
Hello, guys.
G'day, mate.
Well, my question is for Trevor. Are we going to see more animated models only on the rare and ultra rare, or are we going to see more in the commons type further from season 2 and above?
I can't speak to what rarities it's going to be at. I will say that we're making a hell of a lot more animated collectibles. That's something that we're really pushing on. What the rarities will be is more. That's more a Dan, Dave. Like that's not really my area. But I'm pushing for as much like animated and like VFX and sound effects enabled content coming forward.
Thank you, guys.
Can I add on to that animated collectible thing? Is it going to be is there an on-off switch for the animations? And back to the shadows again, for those weaker phones, as you said, it's more expensive to render the lighting. So is there an option to switch it off? Because it comes kind of fits in sometimes on those cloudy days as well. So is there an off switch?
We're looking to, actually, I was just looking at it today. We were looking at making a lot of improvements to how we handle shadows in AR. I'm assuming what you're trying to do is get the shadows of your model to match the lighting conditions in which you're taking the image and the picture, and that's something that we're working on improving. I guess, and then to your question about the animated, I'm forgetting exactly what it was.
The on-off switch.
That's an interesting question. I haven't. I'll have to ask if we can do that. That's more of a technical thing than a content thing, but it's not too hard to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Reese, I actually have a question to follow up with his question. Oh, hello. Mic check. Y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, mate. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Now with the NFTs, we have the interactive and the static. Trevor, would you say that we might have a dynamic?
Like just like an idle animation, like something. Yes.
Yeah, something that just runs in a loop.
Yes. Yeah, idle loops is something that that's kind of when we're trying to do animations, it's like to have a model go from static to then do an animation to go back to static is kind of weird. You need that idle pose, that kind of idle loop, which is actually, interestingly, one of the hardest kind of animations to make because it's very subtle and it has a lot of characterization. So yes, we're definitely doing that.
Excellent. Sounds great. And I have another question for Reese. Earlier, in like one of the other streams, it was something about y'all were adding the video recording onto the app so that we could record with our NFTs.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I only mentioned that a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, that's an update coming because fundamentally we want people to be able to share this content. And you spend all this time getting as creative as you can in your showrooms or in AR. We want to enable as many ways for you to share and display that as we can. So yeah, there's definitely a video update coming at some point. I think sooner than later. I don't have an exact sort of when it will roll out just yet, but yeah, to be able to properly film in the app as opposed to screen recording your phone.
Excellent. Yeah, I had because I already reserved my YouTube channel name and I got skits already waiting with some of my NFTs. So yeah, and that it only takes one video to go viral for Veve to go viral. Absolutely.
I mean, look, just predicated on the amount of people that have found Veve as it is, that viral sharing, that user-generated content is just incredible as it is. So yeah, I think the AR technology that's in there already has gone a long way to facilitating that. But I look forward to seeing your channel, man.
Awesome. Thank you. It's called the Millionaires Club, but I love you both. Thank you.
Yo. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, go for it. We'll take a few more guys and then I better do some stuff. But yep, let's do it.
And first off, this is Cavell. I just want to say shout out to you all. Thank you all so much for the great work that you all do. I'm definitely a huge fan, obviously. But I actually get a very big question on my channel a lot, and people always ask me about the swap over to a different blockchain and how that's going to affect the token holders. Like, do we have to rebuy tokens or yeah, like how that works exactly? It's confusing to think about.
Yeah. So first of all, hey Cavell, cheers for all the support, man. We really appreciate it. I love watching your channel, man. You crack me up. When it comes to the token swap, or when we move chain, it's actually a pretty standard thing in crypto and blockchain these days. No, you won't need to rebuy tokens. Sort of similar to the way that we've set up a wrapping site, or what we call a swap site, if you want to wrap your OMI tokens now move them to put them on Uniswap, for example. We will set up a similar sort of site. So you would send your tokens in and it would send you back the token on the new blockchain. In addition to that, most exchanges also facilitate token swaps. So you would send your tokens to your exchange wallet and then they would burn them effectively and provide you with the new token as well. So whenever this happens, and look, I don't think we're going to start migrating in the next week or anything like that. So there will be, I will be creating incredible amounts of content. I know you guys will be helping us with that. So thank you in advance for sharing that content as well. And look, anyone who's holding, this will be open for 12 months or something. You will have ample time to move your tokens across to the new chain and all those kind of things. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hey,
All right,
Reese.
so I had a question. Do you guys have like, or in the future, like, are there going to be more like comic book collectibles? And are you guys getting into anime also?
Yep, anime and animation are definitely part of our fandom verticals that we include and target. Comics, we'll have to wait and see.
Goddamn! All right, we good.
Thanks, mate. Can I just remind you guys, if you've had your question, if you can just return to the audience for me as well, just so that everybody here gets a voice, and then we'll wrap things up. So.
Can I have a last question, Reese?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Well, are we going to see like OMI tokens pools, like liquidity pools, and I don't know, in other exchanges or something like that, just to move around our OMI from our wallets?
Not really sure what you mean about the pools on exchanges. Do you want to explain that a bit more?
Yeah, I was thinking more like Binance Smart Chain with PancakeSwap and BakerySwap. They got like liquidity pools just to create more liquidity to the token. So the great example.
Yep. Sorry to cut you off there. We already have a liquidity pool on Uniswap. If you want to add your tokens there, I don't think we'll be on BSC anytime soon. They're not very decentralized as a chain. I just think that Uniswap is a better platform. Obviously, there's fees involved at the moment, but ETH will continue to scale this year, and that will be a thing of the past. But there's an article on our blog explaining how to wrap your OMI tokens and how to add liquidity to that Uniswap pool if you would like to earn some LP rewards as well.
Okay, thank you, Reese, and thank you all of you. It's great and exciting just be here in this community and be just an early access to all these features. This is going to be great.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Guys, I'm just going to invite maybe 3 more people up as well, and once we get through those questions, we will we'll probably wrap it up for the day. So Joy, if you're there, Joy L, if you've got a question for myself or Trevor. Oh, no, see you later. Okay, somebody else can come in. The Domer, if you've got a question, bro. Or anyone in there, if anyone's got one.
You guys have been very thorough answering questions. I'm trying to go through some and maybe find one that you guys haven't answered yet.
Yeah, to be honest, I really like this format. It makes it much easier to kind of get everything out at once rather than trying to answer 4,000 things in Telegram that get lost every 4 seconds. So, yeah.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, we all appreciate it like more than you guys could ever know.
Thank you. I mean, we appreciate you guys more than you could ever know. You know, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So it's very much appreciated, all the support and all the questions. You know, it really helps us to refine what we're offering as well with all the feedback. So.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
With the regards to your Roger and Cohen partnership, can you just share some of the sort of exciting marketing strategies that they proposed that, even kind of surprised you guys? And yeah, what do you guys have to say about that?
I'm not personally privy to the amazing and wonderful strategies of RSC. But if you go through their website, you can go through their individual client list and see what kind of strategies they put forward for those guys. And that's the same sort of thing that we'll begin to see with Veve as well. Primarily, or at least initially, they are our PR firm, so they are helping us to get in front of a lot of mainstream audiences, I suppose, is for lack of a better term. Now that's not just pushing out a press release, but it's actually putting us into publications, and you'll probably see Dan's face on a few news spots in the next few weeks, just explaining NFTs and what we offer as well. And that's not, that's obviously to promote Veve, but it's also to really secure our spot as thought leaders in the space, because fundamentally we're designing our own niche around us, and this part of the market. So RNC will be integral in helping us go to market with those kind of things and get the press that's deserved from the licenses and brand partners that we have coming in the next few months and really the next few years. And then we will also have an actual, a separate media company that's on board as well, that will help with customer acquisition, ad space, media strategies, all of those kind of things too. So yeah, we're definitely not holding anything back when it comes to our go-to market strategy.
Thank you. I have one last question. Now I know you guys work with licenses and IP, but if one were to sort of pitch you guys, let's say a celebrity, for example, that wants to do an NFT, a Veve collectible with you guys, how would one go about that? And if that's something you guys do at all?
Yeah. Look, it really depends on the person or the IP. I think it's open on the Veve website. There's a contact page there, and there's a section that if you are a licensor or representing someone, that you can apply and give us some information, and then we'll get back to you on it. So if that appeals to anybody, if you're looking for an avenue to get in touch or provide that IP, that channel is open there. Please don't spam us with a toy that you've made or something like that. Obviously we're working with the upper echelon of licensors, and that will always be the case. And same goes, at Veve as a platform, as a business, we deal directly with the licensor. So if you have a friend of a friend whose cousin's dog walker's son has a license or something like that, it's probably not the right place. But if you are directly working with or representing someone, yeah, reach out to us for sure.
Understood. Thank you.
Sorry for stepping in. I just left before. The question I got is regarding the interface of some rarities in the app, for example, common, uncommon, and ultra rare. Are you guys maybe planning on adding different types of frames so that the user can easily notice what is more common or more rare?
Yeah, that's definitely been a feature that has been requested, or something similar. Look, directly, I don't know. Trevor, is that in your realm of work? Is that something that you're aware of that we're working towards?
Is this in reference in a 3D space or in the app itself, like when you're looking through the store?
No, just looking through the store, for example, like in League of Legends.
Yeah, so putting different color rarities. Yeah, that's something we've discussed.
Great, thanks a lot.
I agree. I think to read sometimes.
Yeah. Look, anything like that we can integrate that makes it easier for users to identify something, or there's probably going to be some bragging rights attached to it if you have the gold frame thing to represent your ultra rare or or something like that. So, I'm sure that those integrations will come as the app develops too. We might take one more, guys. Stevo239, if you're in here and have a question, mate. And then we'll wrap it up. Or maybe not. I'll add one more. What have we got here? Prime. Okay, they left.
Hey, I'll just say real quick too that I believe we're going live tomorrow, or I guess today, depending on where you are in the world, 2 hours before the drop, and then I believe we're doing a game 2 hours after the drop.
Nice. And where is that happening?
That's going to be happening right here in the Clubhouse live chat in the Discord thing.
Awesome, awesome. And then you're running that, Mr. Granola?
Yes, sir. I'm running the Granola games. It's just a series of different games that are utilizing the Veve app for different people to win prizes and stuff like that. Different collectible prizes. Tomorrow we have, I think, about $50 worth of collectible prizes that I'm giving out.
Awesome, awesome. And do you want to dive into that a little bit while you're here and just give people, maybe an example of a game or how we're going to utilize, or would you rather keep that a secret until it's time?
No, absolutely, sure. For example, let's see, we had a hide and seek game where I'll just be sharing my showroom in the app, and people will have to go into the showroom and utilize the AR ability from the Veve app to find a collectible that I have hidden. I'll tell you which one it is, and you just have to look for it. And then let's see, we did one last week or last Saturday that was Bounty Hunter, and we threw some collectibles into the marketplace, and we gave you clues to find them, and then you had to go and find them. First person to take a screen capture and post it into the chat here won that collectible. So yeah, we got different games like that and stuff planned.
That's incredible, man. Look, shout out to you and for creating the Granola games. It makes me so happy to see these things taking place, and such a creative way to utilize the app as well. So for anybody who wants to take part, make sure you're in this voice chat prior to the drop. And while I'm here, I'll plug Trevor as well, jumping in with Dave from marketing an hour pre-drop to discuss those things and just share a bit of stoke around, I think. We'll take one more question, guys, if one of you guys up here want to throw one at us, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. Okay. Well, maybe we'll just call it there. Let's see. Trevor, anything else from you, mate, you want to share with anybody before we wrap this one up?
No, I'm going to bed.
Very nice.
Nice. Oh, well, look, guys, thank you for tuning in. We got up to 300 or 400 people before, and people are tuning out now, but just a big shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for all the support, and we'll try to make this a weekly or a bi-weekly event, and we'll probably be swinging through every now and again anyway, just to say good day. I think it's a really great format for people to have their voice heard and questions answered. So thanks for sticking around. Apologies for my technical difficulties earlier on, but thankfully Dan managed that as well. And we'll chat to you all soon. Good luck in the drop, my friends.
Well, yes, thank you guys very much for coming to the chat. We really appreciate you.
No worries at all. All right, guys, you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.